quick reminder before we begin on what an element is. An element contains only one kind of atom. For example, the element sodium contains only sodium atoms. A compound is made of atoms of different elements bonded together. A compound can be described by a formula which is made from the symbols of the atoms inside it. Water has two hydrogen atoms joined or bonded to an oxygen atom, so its formula is H2O. Notice where the 2 is written. Now check the formula for carbon dioxide and ethanol. You should find that they are also correct. Notice that for carbon dioxide, there are 2 oxygen atoms joined onto one carbon atom. So that is the reason why we put the 2 on the right-hand side of the oxygen. Ethanol is a special case because it belongs to a group of chemical substances called alcohols, which can be found in organic chemistry. The OH is the part of the molecule that is reactive, so that H is kept separate from the other H's. A mixture contains different substances that are not bonded together, so you can usually separate the substances quite easily using methods that you may have met earlier in the course. The picture shows a mixture of iron powder and sulfur. You could separate them by dissolving the sulfur in methylbenzene, which is a solvent for the sulfur. You could then filter the iron off. You could also separate the iron using a magnet. If you heat the end of a metal rod in a Bunsen burner and push it into a mixture of iron and sulfur, the mixture starts to glow brightly. A chemical change is taking place. At the end of the experiment, we find a black compound called Ii Sulfide. It is made of iron and sulfur atoms bonded together. For every iron atom, there is one sulfur atom in Ii Sulfide. Ii Sulfide's formula is FeS. It will not dissolve anymore in methylbenzene. So heating a mixture of iron and sulfur causes a chemical change to take place, with the iron and sulfur atoms bonding together to form a compound. You can tell when a chemical change takes place by looking out for one of 3 signs. One or more new chemical substances are formed. Now these changes can be described with a word equation where pluses on the left-hand side means react with and arrows means to form. Also look out for whether energy is taken in or given out during the reaction, and if the changes are usually difficult to reverse. So the chemical changes, which are usually called chemical reactions, are very different from physical changes. If we were to mix the iron powder at the start with sulfur, that's an example of a physical change because you're not forming any new substance. You can then dissolve the sulfur in methylbenzene, which is also a physical change because solvents can be removed by distillation. If you were then to separate the iron by filtering, that is a third physical change. You can reverse it by putting the iron back into the filtrate again. So remember, a chemical change is usually called a chemical reaction. If no new chemical substance is formed, a change is a physical change. The signs of a chemical change are that one or more new substances are formed, energy is taken in or given out during the reaction, and the change is usually difficult to reverse. A mixture contains different substances that are not bonded together. Compounds can be described by formula. The plural of formula is formulae.